So I was just tagged by Nicole Hikesalot, and the tag is hashtag worst backpacking trip. So I haven't really had a ton of bad experiences backpacking, but there's one thing that does come to mind. Some of you are probably thinking that this is going to be the bear story, but sorry to disappoint you, this isn't it. So this one involves a 4-day trip I was on, and it was the second night, and bad weather had actually rolled in, and it wasn't supposed to start until later, and the weather forecast was showing that it was going to be really cold and then rainy all day long. I did have some water leaking in my tent that night, and it kind of made me nervous because it was dripping right on my sleeping bag. But what I ended up doing was taking my rain jacket and wrapping it around my feet to just keep the water off. But luckily it stopped really quickly. I think it was just maybe a seam issue, and then once the water swelled it up, it took care of the problem. So then fast forward to the next morning, it's really cold, everything is wet. My gear wasn't really wet, but it was just kind of damp just from all the moisture in the air, and the fact that it was going to be so cold just made things just even worse. And the thought of having to hike 10 miles to my next campsite with possibly my gear getting wet, and it was going to be colder than it was supposed to, I just decided I was going to move on, just finish the rest of the trip out, and I ended up doing a 22-mile day back to my truck just so I could cut it early because of the weather. I'm just catching a break here. Still got about, I want to say 13, 14 miles to go till I'm out of here. Still raining, still cold and wet obviously. I could really use a pair of gloves right now. What made it really suck was it rained almost all day. The trails were, some of them had water like actually running down the trails, mud everywhere, and it just was not pleasant. So I mean that's about it. Not the worst story ever, but it definitely did make for some good memories, and I can look back and say I definitely learned some lessons from it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag 2 people. First one is going to be my buddy Justin from It's Good in the Woods. If you haven't checked him out, definitely check him out. Give him a subscribe. That dude is funny as heck. Makes some great content. He does everything: the hiking, backpacking, camping, bushcrafting, kayaking, all that cool stuff. So definitely head over and check him out. Next one I want to tag is my friend IceBear from IceBear Hikes. You may remember her from my Cumberland Island video. She was one of the people I went with. So definitely head over, check her out. She gets out a lot, so she's most likely got some pretty good stories to tell. And lastly, make sure you go over and check out Nicole Hikesalot channel if you haven't already. Just go over to all 3 of these channels. Make sure you give them some support, give them some thumbs up, some likes, and make sure you stay tuned for their videos. So that is going to do it for me. Peace out, guys.